Hey there, it's April 18th and time for Proverbs 18. Let's jump over there. Now, this first verse is interesting because it says something different in almost every translation you go to. Okay. This is the New International. It's the only one that says it like this. An unfriendly person pursues selfish ends and against all sound judgment starts quarrels. Okay. And I've never read it like that. We can go over here and see my parallel Bible. Okay. The New King James Version says, a man who isolates himself, seeks his own desire, rages against all wise judgment. And the New Living Translation says, a recluse is self-indulgent, snarling at every sound principle of conduct. And a lot of the translations are very similar to that. A person is selfish, he isolates himself, he's a recluse, and doesn't hang around anybody, agoraphobic. But the 1599, right, a very, very old Bible before the King James, says it different than any of the other ones. It says, for the desire thereof, he will separate himself to seek it and occupy himself in all wisdom. Okay, which is a good thing. It even has a footnote here. It says, he that loveth wisdom will separate himself from all impediments and give himself wholly to seek it. Okay, that's a very positive thing. Okay, to bury yourself in the Word and study the Bible without any distractions. Okay, it's a good thing. Every other one says it differently. And, a recluse and a selfish person and an indulgent person against all sound judgment. You decide which one's right, You could go back and I'm sure there's studies done on this where you go back to the original Hebrew and see what it says. Okay? And it probably has words that means two different things, like many words in English that mean two completely different things. But just interesting. Act 2. Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. Boy, isn't that the truth? When wicked comes, so does contempt, and with shame comes reproach. Right? Reproach. Bad reputation. Right? For the words of the mouth are deep waters, but the fountain of wisdom is a rushing stream. Okay, this is interesting too, and there's footnotes over here. Go on. Which can never be drawn empty, but bring ever profit. Okay? Deep waters. This means you can draw water and you never will go empty. Right? And bring profit. Fountain of wisdom is a rushing stream, like a flowing river, it says over here. It's not good to be partial to the wicked and so deprive the innocent of justice. This goes on everywhere, doesn't it? Absolutely. Especially when the wicked come into power. 6, the lips of fools bring them strife, and their mouths invite a beating. Right? See some fools, crazy people, they just keep talking until somebody hits them. Okay? It happens a lot. 7, the mouths of fools are their undoing, and their lips are a snare to their very lives. Kind of goes to 6, doesn't it? They talk too much, and that is their undoing. Right? The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the innermost parts. Okay? Now, this is a warning right here. He talks about gossip all over the Bible. Okay? All over Proverbs. And gossip is a very bad thing. That's betraying a confidence. Okay? And then telling other people. Okay? That's how you lose friends. That's how you separate churches. Okay? Because once it starts, gossip is like a drug. Okay? It goes down into here. And you need to learn to walk away from that kind of stuff. Okay? They have made it a $1 trillion industry. Okay? It's all over social media. It's all over television. It's all over the news. It's in they call it reality television. It's getting into somebody else's business that is none of your business, okay? And it's like a drug. People love it. People can't get enough of the drama, okay? You gotta walk away from that. Just keep scrolling. 9, one who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys, right? A lazy person is no better than one who's breaking something. Or a great waster, it says over here. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll make that green. The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe, right? You can always run to the Lord, right? Know that. 11, the wealth of the rich is their fortified city. They imagine it a wall too high to scale, right? I love it over here. The rich man's riches are his strong city and his high wall in his imagination, right? They think having all that money will keep him safe. It doesn't, does it? Money will corrupt you too much. The love of money, okay? Love of money. Yeah. Well, before a downfall, the heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. Okay, I say that all the time. Okay? Pride, haughty, arrogant, conceited, right? All comes before a downfall. Okay, being humble. Okay, being humble always comes before honor. Okay, if you are humble and you get honored, it's honest. Well, second. 13, to answer before listening, that is folly and shame. Okay. Now we went over this in chapter 15 about arguing, right? And we read in James that a person should be quick to listen, slow to speak, right? And this goes along with that too. Okay, you could put all these verses together and get a really good idea of how to debate somebody or argue somebody without hurting them, okay, without causing damage or opening up a flood, right? To answer before listening, that is folly, foolishness, and shame. Okay? You need to listen. Don't be formulating an answer in your head. Don't cut them off. That's what this means. Cut somebody off mid-sentence. Okay? They do it all the time. Even professionals do it. They get so angry in their self that they cut them off. And, no, that's not true. Okay? It's foolishness and shame. Don't cut somebody off before they're finished speaking. Don't formulate your answer before you hear their entire sentence. All right? 14, the human spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? We talked about this yesterday and the day before. Okay? The man's spirit is the light of his soul, and crushed spirit is very, hard to bear. Many homeless people and people on the streets are there not because of sickness but because they have a crushed spirit. Okay? We get some stories. How did you end up here? Well, my wife and my kids were killed in a car accident by a drunk driver. And I lost everything. That's a crushed spirit, okay? My wife died of cancer, or my husband died of cancer. We spent everything we had giving it to these pharmaceutical companies and hospitals. We won't get into that. And I have nothing left. Yeah. A crushed spirit. How do you fix that? It's hard to bear it. It's not, you can't just give them money, give them a job. It's not going to fix that. Okay? Crushed spirit. 15, the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. Okay? Are you seeking out knowledge? 16, a gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. Right? Some people, when they're going to see a dignitary, will bring a gift, a painting or some trophy or something, and it guarantees you to get into their presence because people like receiving gifts. Right? In a lawsuit, the first to speak seems right until someone comes forward and cross-examines. That's a good one, too. Okay. The accuser always goes first, okay, in American law, anyways. And when the accuser comes up first and tells the jury, this person did this and this and this, and he did this and this, and we're going to prove it. And your first thing you're thinking, oh, he seems like this person did all this stuff. Until the defense comes forward and they get the last word. Okay? My client wasn't even in the state the night that happened. Okay? We have video proof and we have receipts to prove he was on the other side of the country, could not have done this. And then suddenly, this person is no longer right. Okay? First to speak always seems right until someone comes forward and cross-examines him. Another reason you should always get both sides of a story. If somebody's this and this and this and this and this, and oh no, what a horrible person. Maybe you need to hear both sides of the story, okay? Because maybe an accuser just told you what they wanted to be true. And this happens all the time, okay? The news will grab it up and say, somebody's guilty of this and such, and you know. And they will use words like allegedly did this and this and this, meaning that he was accused of it, but we're not saying he did it, even though they're broadcasting, what they think. All right. Good saying. 18, casting the lot settles disputes and keeps strong opponents apart. Right. Ever notice? They used to cast lots, which were straws, right? Now they flip a coin. Okay, you get two huge football teams, great big, right, gnarly beasts, and you get this little referee tossing a little tiny coin. It flips the coin where it lands, settles disputes. The big, strong men will say, okay, that's the answer, and they will abide by that answer, okay? It's just amazing how something so small can have such a large impact. 19, a brother wronged is more unyielding than a fortified city. Disputes are like barred gates of a citadel. Right? A brother offended, it said over here. Right? If you offend a brother, or wrong a brother, getting that brother back, which includes gossip, by the way, right? You're not going to do it, okay? You won't do it. You have lost that friend. It says if you gossip about somebody, you have lost that friend, right? A brother wronged. 20, from the fruit of their mouth, a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips, they are satisfied. That's cool, right? Right. What you say, what you do, comes back at you, okay? If you say only good things, only kind things, uplifting and edifying things, right, you will be filled with kind, uplifting, and edifying things, right? If you say evil, mean, degrading things, that's what you will be filled with. Think about that. 21, the tongue has the power of life and death. Those who love it will eat its fruit. See? That goes right along with that, right? Words are the most powerful thing in the world. Okay? That's why they call the Bible the Word of God, because words hold ultimate power. Okay? Big thing, the tongue has the power of life and death. Those who love it will eat its fruit, right? From the fruit of the mouth, a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips, they are satisfied, okay? Or satiated, right? Think about that. 22, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. Okay. Now, this is an important verse, okay? I'll make that green. It doesn't say he who finds a girlfriend, he who finds a lover, he who finds a companion. It says he who finds a wife, okay? Husbands, men are ultimately looking for wives, okay? Not girlfriends, not lovers. Okay? A wife, you think of wives and husbands, wives take care of things, okay? They help their husband. They don't judge them by the car they drive, by the job they have. They judge them by their heart, right? How well they provide and how secure they are, how much they love and nurture their family. Okay? All husbands are looking for a wife, okay? If you who finds a wife, which is somebody who will not judge him. I don't like you because you're not tall enough or you're not driving this car, but right? You judge him by the heart, right? Do they have a heart for the Lord? Okay? It's important. Wife, not girlfriend, not lover, wife. If you want to find a good man, be wife material. 23, the poor plead for mercy, but the rich answer harshly. Well, that's the truth, isn't it? Just the truth. And 24, one who is unreliable, one who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend that sticks closer to than a brother. Right? That is oftentimes such are found which are more ready to do pleasure than he that is more bound to duty. Right? Some friends just want to party with you, right? When you get in trouble or run out of money, right? Things aren't going good, they're going to go away. But there's usually one friend who sticks closer than a brother, okay? I mean, most of us have one friend we can count on no matter what happens, okay? Good stuff. Good stuff. So there's 18. Let me go over our highlights here. And we highlighted one just because it's different in every Bible. I mean, you go to you go back to the Hebrew and find the words that have double meanings in them, okay? Which is what I mean. I believe all these are good translations, okay? Especially the Geneva Bible, right? And the New International and the New King James, right? Which says, this one says, an unfriendly person pursues selfish ends against all sound judgment, starts quarrels, okay? And that's the only one that says starts quarrels, okay? We read it in the New King James, which says a recluse will isolate himself against all sound judgment, okay? But the Geneva Bible says, for the desire thereof, he will separate himself to seek and occupy himself in all wisdom. With a footnote, he that loveth wisdom will separate himself from all impediments and give himself wholly to seek it. Okay, there are times when you need to just close all the doors and block out everything and study your Bible. Okay, and that is a good thing. Most verse says it's a bad thing if you isolate yourself and become a recluse and don't have any friends and don't talk to people. You decide. It's just an interesting verse, okay? And like I said, it probably means both things, okay? Okay, what else did we highlight? Highlighted 8. The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts, okay? It is a drug, okay? It is a drug. Gossip. Big business, okay? Big business. And just a good saying, right? The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. Right? He showeth what is the refuge of the godly against all trouble. Right? Right. You can run to the Lord and be safe. Well, before a downfall, the heart is haughty. Right? Prideful, arrogant, conceited. Okay, they all mean the same thing. God hates those things, okay? He detests them, finds them abominable. But humility comes before honor, right? It says, before glory goeth lowliness. Humble, right? Always be humble. Be quiet. 13, to answer before listening, that is folly and shame, right? That means cutting people off mid-sentence. Okay, you need to listen to what they say, okay? That's very important. It says it in Proverbs, says it in James, first chapter, 19 and 20, right? Read that. 17, in a lawsuit, the first to speak seems right until someone comes forward and cross-examines, right? Always get both sides of the story. Always don't form a judgment without hearing the other side of the story. That is a huge problem with the world today. They will form a judgment before hearing both sides of the story. 19 and 20. We'll read this backwards just for fun. We'll read 21 first. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. All right? From the fruit of their mouth, a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips, they are satisfied. Okay? Good things or bad things. You make it a habit to say only kind, uplifting, edifying things. You will be filled with good, kind, uplifting, edifying things. Right? If not, right, you will eat your own fruit. And 22. He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. That's his note over here. He that is joined with a virtuous woman in marriage is blessed of the Lord. It's also in Proverbs 19. We'll read that tomorrow too, right? 19, 14. Right? Wife. Be a wife, not a girlfriend, right? A wife. Okay? A girlfriend is somebody who's trying to impress other people. Look, he's tall. He drives a Corvette. And, right? That's not husband, and that's not a wife. So there you go. So there you go. That's Proverbs 18. Cool stuff. Okay, cool stuff. Let's jump back over here. There you have it. Stay tuned later today. We are in Luke. I'm not sure which chapter, 14 or 15 or something like that. It's day like 108, I believe. So, and this is Good Friday, which is kind of mixed up, okay, because you do some research, you find out that Jesus was actually crucified on Thursday, okay? Now, Israel and the Jewish, their day started at sundown. The previous day is when the day started. It didn't start in the morning like we do now, okay? It started at sundown the previous day, okay? Jesus was crucified on a Thursday, right? And by sundown on Friday, right? That's when he went to I mean, they had a lot of work to do. Okay, he had to go to Pilate, ask for permission to take the body down and put it in a tomb, right? That's prepared for me and my family. And Pilate said, "Okay, you're allowed to do that." So, and it didn't happen in an hour. Okay, they had to go. They had to take the body down. They had to quickly wrap it up and carry it. And by the time it was late afternoon, by the time they got this done, all they had time to do was just wrap him up in a cloth and put him in there and roll away the stone, because sundown, right, on Friday, the Sabbath started. Okay, the Sabbath was the seventh day. It was on Saturday. So they got him there just in time, rolled the stone away, and then they couldn't do anything. Okay, so sundown, the Sabbath started, which was Saturday, went all the way through to midnight, and then Sunday morning, the first day of the week, is when the ladies went to anoint his body and actually prepare him for burial. Okay, 3 days: Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Okay, and he said he would be in 3 days. He would be risen on the third day. So, just a little history lesson there. So, there you go. So, enjoy your day. Right? Join us later. Catch up on anything I missed. Then next time we'll continue. See ya.